Of editing. So in the rear back there, you have a Macintosh computer with an editizer. All right, it's called the Sundance system. It might intimidate some of you. It's hard enough trying to learn Lotus 1, 2, 3 for spreadsheet databases and word processors. Now here, you're called upon to learn another software package to control text. It could be overwhelming. So what I will do is attempt to train you on the edit controller first, which is the old-fashioned way of editing, where you have more hands-on control and feel for what it is that you're trying to put together. Okay, you follow me? Am I losing anyone? Response? Yes, no? Overview. So it's not that essential. Okay, being that it's an overview is not that essential that you don't understand totally. It's just an orientation. All right, it's just an orientation. Now, after you've edited everything, let's look at it. How many times have you shot something and never looked at it once you finish the project? All right, many people do that, all right? So it's important that you sit down with yourself or with others to get an objective view to see what it is that you did incorrectly, all right? Whether it is audio, problems that you incurred along the way of building up your story, or image problems, drops. Maybe when you edit it, you had your controls in the wrong setting and something went wrong. So now you can sit down to analyze what you've done, or just shot selection, poor shot selection. So always keep in mind, as I said before, pictorial continuity. You can't make what an audience is watching too obtrusive to the human mind that it'll take you out of proportion, mentally. It's like, what's happening here? First I see a guy lighting up a spliff, and then I see him drinking wine. Doesn't make any sense. That's the jump cut to an irrelevant shot, unless you're just doing something crazy, for fun. So pictorial continuity is of essence here. The story has to have some kind of plan. You have to pre-plan it. And after you pre-plan it, then you go out there and say, well, now I'm going to try this shot first. I'm going to ask these questions, and I want it to look in a certain way. Then I want to do some cutaway shots, so when I do edit, I can put these shots in here for visual effects to move my story along. You understand? Do you have a question?
Yeah, what is a drop? You keep referring to it.
A drop is, let's say you might see a football game from Giant Stadium and some fan trips over a line, and one of the camera person is, he's shooting a particular event, right? And then somebody trips on the line. At home, you're going to see, boom, something go black, freeze the image, and then the technical director will switch to another shot. That's a drop. A drop could be a glitch. When you put your recorder to record and play, and then you start to record it, and then let's say you've covered that, right? And then you play it, and then when you play it back, at the end of that recording, you're going to see the snow. That's a drop. Okay? When you see those ugly things, those little gremlins in there that you don't want to deal with, those are drops. And there's all types of drops. You have a question?
A drop. Is a drop the same as a glitch, or?
They're the same.
They're the same.
Yeah, they're the same. But glitch is more of a larger term.
But that's just happening when you're shooting. But I mean, if you go to edit, you can just edit that out. Or you're saying if it's something like a football game, then you can never recapture that moment, obviously. Right. But if it's like an interview, you're not going to have that problem.
You could. I mean, you could shoot a perfect shoot and get back to editing, and you get drops because you don't know what it takes to put together an edit at the end. So you're going to get like glitches because there's certain principles that you don't understand. That can happen. All right? You see what I'm saying?
But I don't understand how you could, like when you said if somebody, I don't know, I'm confused.
Well, when I'm trying to get into pictorial continuity, that means that when a viewer is watching something, or watching your story or documentary, it has to be very unobtrusive to that person. It has to flow, right? But if a person sees a drop, it's going to say, wait a minute, damn, this person doesn't know, how did that get there? And I can show you ways in which those drops occur without getting into the specifics right now.
Even in the final
Even in the final edit, you can get drops. We deal in a world of possibilities, so anomalies can crop up. Maybe when you're playing your tape at that particular instant in time, there's a little dust particle moving through the heads of your recorder. And that gets imprinted in your edit. And that's an anomaly. That can happen. It turns out to be a glitch. Now, if you have a multi-million-dollar project, then you go back to what tape was it that we recorded with? The capture tape. And then we do it all over again to replace that, okay? So that's why you always put away the original in a safe place in case you need to refer back to it. Very, very essential. Yes, sir.
You talk about when you film that you should be prepared and have everything planned out beforehand. I know in movies they do like storyboards.
Precisely.
Would that be the same type of practice that we?
Yes, yes. I mean, you don't have to get that sophisticated. You can just have a general outline, or you can have it in your head. You know what it is that you're dealing with. You're well schooled in it, so when you go out there, you know what it is that you want. All right, like these rappers, when they rap, they know what they want to say, beginning to end. Not all of them. There's a lot of garbage rap out there, right? But the edit list. The pre-edit list is something like what he says, the storyboard. All right. When Alfred Hitchcock did a lot of his films, he storyboarded. He was an art director, so he knew how to draw. He knew how to set up sets and things of that sort. And he turned out to be a great director because his whole staff, like we're meeting right now, I'm giving a lecture. He had storyboard artists just prepare everything before they even shot, like the birds or cycle. Everything was done in his head already before it happened. So when it does happen, if there's any other moments of creativity, you can take a 180 and integrate it into your scheme. 180? Well, I'm saying that you don't have to follow the storyboard degrees. Right, I'm sorry. You don't have to follow your storyboard verbatim. It's only there as a guide, as an outline. I mean, you can have verbal outlines too to a story that you want to tell, like an outline like what I have here. And it can carry it forward. But motion picture and music videos usually do have storyboards. Because what that does, it goes back to what we was talking about, framing or shot selection. The storyboard actually gives you the shot selections that you want, you see, within a particular sequence of shots, all right? And then that has to do with scenes, you know. Scenes is like a particular time and place that you're shooting something. If we're shooting in here, this is scene 1. If we go outside and we leave this location, it's scene 2. If we come back, it becomes scene 3, and things of that sort, okay? So pictorial continuity, I'm going back to where I was. Pictorial continuity is very important, okay? Try to keep a clean image, tell your story clearly and concisely so that others can understand what it is that you're saying. And once again, it depends on your intended audience. What is your goal? What is your premise? Where are you striving for? Is it informational? Is it educational? Or is it entertaining? Only you can determine that. Now we go to production rules and equipment checklist and troubleshooting guide, which is I1I. So there's certain rules of thumb that you can apply in this field to ensure a decent shoot. Okay, we can go over that. I've had experience for the last 5 years in this field. My background is essentially computer science, like I was telling him. I have a master's in computer science. I have an electrical engineering background from Harlem University, and I'm going for a second degree in communication, film, and video. That's why I have an interest in this field. All right. So, rules of thumb, things that I've picked up. I know from practice. I've developed my own ways of doing things, and hopefully I can, through osmosis, some form of magic, logical magic, I can let you understand what's going on in this field, so you won't be as intimidated. It's all fun once you get second nature. You get it? It's like driving a car. Once you get the mechanics and the small Toyota, then you could take off in a Mercedes Benz, all right, and enjoy the luxury. It's only a matter of degree and cost. Equipment checklist, I went over that. And there's also troubleshooting guides. You should have ways to, what is troubleshoot? Anybody know what troubleshoot means?
Figure out what's going on.
A little louder, please.
figuring out why something's not working.
Precisely, and finding a solution to why it's not working. So you should have a list of options of why things don't work. You see? Let's take an example right now. Let's say you're putting a VHS tape inside a player, right? And you press play, and the lights go on, and it's playing, but nothing happens. What are some of the things that could go that are going wrong with that? Cable connection. Could be a cable connection. What else?
Nothing on the TV.
Nothing on the TV. Why is that?
Nothing on the tape.
No, right. That's option 2. Option 3. What else can go wrong?
Something wrong with the monitor.
Something wrong with the monitor. Maybe the most basic thing is not on. What's that?
Television.
What is that called? That turns the power? I just said it. Oh shit. Power. That's the power switch. The power switch is not on. Or you might get an image and there's no. What could be attributed to that?
Tape degradation.
The TV volume might be off, right? It might be down. So you see, troubleshooting. Options. What can go wrong? And options you basically learn through trial and error and experience. No one can give you that. You got to get your hands, your feet wet. And that's how you learn, from experience. I'm here to provide this instructional service with a pragmatic approach so you can get your feet wet and actually get the feel for this so it won't be as intimidating. All right? Hopefully I could accomplish that goal. Everything else depends on your self-interest and motivation. I can't give you that. Now, the toaster is a switcher. You guys have a toaster back there. Anybody ever heard of a toaster? I don't mean with jelly and peanut butter. Anybody heard of a toaster? You have heard of a toaster. Does anyone know what a toaster is? What does it do?
Is that what, does it allow you to view the video and stop it and edit it where you want to, or?
That is the editizer. Okay, close call. Close call. The video toaster is what they call in this industry a switcher. A switcher. Yes, sir.
That's different really when you're changing from one camera to another, putting on the main channel. It's like taking 3 cameras and selecting what camera you want to be on the main channel.
Oh, it's precisely what it is.
Okay.
It's a switcher. It's a switching device. And what that means is that one of the most difficult things in this field was to integrate video technology with computerization. Computers deal with symbolic representations and what they call binary code. Digital, okay, discrete quanta of, I'm not going to get anybody lost, but VCR technology, video deals with analog signals. Okay, there's a difference.
Analog.
Analog is just an electronic term that deals with varying, pulsating current and voltage. Images or audio. Computers are digital, okay? It's more discrete, more defined. So one of the hardest things in this field was to integrate that with computer technology. So this company called NewTek developed this device called the video toaster card.
So it matches.
And that's the interface. And it matches the analog video signal with the computer and other devices. So now you can have 3 camera setups with VCRs and switch between them. All right? So that's what that is. The video toaster is a switcher special effects generator. All right? In the old days, they make it differently, but it fits into the computer.
I study amateur radio, and it's the same premise. But I guess it's just this electromagnetic signal,
Right.
depending on how you
Process.
it.
Right. That's
Could you
what
go
it
over
is.
that again?
Okay. When you deal with video signals and television signals, if anybody's taking geometry or trig, it's a sinusoidal wave. It's varying pressure. When this light hits me, it's varying degrees of intensity hitting me. It's really going on and off real fast, but our eyes is deceived. Same thing with video. So things are varying. But computers deal with logic, all right? When they designed the computer, they didn't design it, they use a number scheme to develop computer technology. And that's called the binary number system, what they call base 2. we use 10 fingers, the Arabic system, to count. All right? After 9, you get 1 0 again, so it recycles itself. If you get to 99, you get 1 and 2 zeros to 100. In binary, when you use 2 numbers, 0s and 1. So that's 2-state logic. All right? So a lot of the electronic devices that you see in vogue these days are binary processing devices dealing with 2-state logic, and computers came about through that, binary numbers. All right? So video is analog, varying degrees of intensity in whether it be current, voltage, audio, or video signal. So one of the most difficult things to have done as an engineer was to design a component to interface video with the binary elements of computers. Thus someone created the video toaster running off of the Commodore Amiga, which is a beautiful machine, but they're in financial trouble right now. And now IBM just got on the scene about 3 years ago developing these video cards. Now they want to just push them out the market, along with Macintosh. So that's what's happening right now, war. But the video toaster is very economical. It costs about $2,000 to $3,000. Television broadcasting switchers cost about $200,000 plus. So here you have a low-cost device being brought to the consumer's house, so they can develop their own television for cable, public access, or whatever. So that's what the toaster is. It's a switcher. It allows you to do effects, like dissolve one image to the next, switch between cameras, switch between VCR components, put titles underneath people's names, have titles scrolling at the end of the show, or have a special bulletin going right across the screen. And that's what the toaster provides. Okay? So does that answer some of your questions? Okay. Now, the audio board. Okay? What is an audio board? Any DJs in here? Turning the table like Funk Master Facts. 97 Hot FM? There ain't none, huh? What you know about audio boards?
So you record the sound, audio. And it allows you to bring in whatever sounds from different tracks, and you can play with it. You can hear this, not hear that, mix it together, or do whatever you want. So it's like a mixing board.
Precisely. The audio board is synonymous with the word mixer. Okay, just mix signals. Basically, they have several inputs, what they call pods, for different microphones. You can put microphones into it, or you can have a cassette or a CD connected to it, or another VCR connected to it. So you're just like controlling audio, basically, and mixing it. That's why they use the word mix. All right?
So you wanted to do like a voice, you wanted to do like a voiceover. Is that how you would use the audio board? I mean,
okay, let's say you shot something, right? You have the video reel and you want to do narration. These tapes, basically a lot of these decks that you have back there give you 2 channels, left and right. You get it? So if you have a tape like this, the video signal moves this way, then the audio tracks are like on the edges. So you're given 2 tracks. So you can put someone's interview on track 1 and music on track 2 very low. That's how you're able to hear music and effects underneath a primary track. You see? Because you have multiple tracks. Now if you're dealing with motion picture and things like that, so you have like 24 tracks, special effects, and then they recombine everything for the final, for the final copy. Everything gets put together. But you have here 2 tracks. So if you want to do a narration, you can just take a microphone, connect it to the board, and then the output of the board will go into the deck in which you want to do with that one track. You can start talking into that one track and leave the other track intact. That might have music or pertinent information on it. So you deal with 2 audio tracks. So you can do a narration. because you're doing what's called an audio dub on that one track. You get it? That's a dub. You're gonna use that
You
one.
could do it though, I mean, on a, what do you want?
How do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it? I mean, what are you taping it onto?
Well, let's say you're editing something, right? And then you finish compiling the edit, but between 2 points, let's say an outside shot. Let's say your outside shot lasts a minute, and your overall footage is 5 minutes. And between 3 minutes and 4 minutes, you got an outside shot. And you forgot to do a narration out there. All right? You can come back in here, not destroy, you don't destroy the visual because you're going to put the decks in a certain mode. You're not going to put it on a record mode that's going to destroy the visuals. You're going to put it on an audio dub mode.
Oh, I see.
That's going to mess with that one channel so you can do your narration for that 1 minute.
And that's recorded onto
The tape.
the
that's
videotape that I just shot, but it's not affecting the video, the visual portion of it is just on the audio portion of it.
Precisely.
And it's going, say there was like outside noise. Say you're shooting something that's outside noise. That it's gonna record over that.
If you don't,
Depends on the level of
if you
recording.
want to destroy that, if it has no significance to you, you can eliminate that ambiance.
Okay.
That's ambiance sound, and record over it. Or you can record over 2 channels with your voice, and
So-
stay stereo. 2 channels mean stereo.
So when you're recording outside, you have basically your audio and your video going at the same time, right?
Precisely.
Now, are they together or can they be separated? I guess is what I'm gonna do. I mean, if you have that ambient sound outside, can you keep the video still going and get rid of your background?
Yes. You can do it later on in post-production. You could probably do it there too. I mean, let's say you just want to get visuals, right? You can do what they call as a dummy tap. A dummy tap?
Silent.
Yeah, you can put, like, this camera has like an input for microphone. It has a microphone input, right? If I can just find this obsolete, where is it? Who's used this before? Huh? Who's gonna say the audio of McAllister?
I think it's on the it's not
Oh
on the-
boy, I just know it's not in the back. Okay, see, they give you earphones in the back, right? You see that? Now, what we're looking for is what they call a mini for the microphone. Can anybody find it? This is a challenge.
Right there. The thing up top?
Is that it? Okay. You see how it is? It's right where, like, most cameras are made differently. Some will have it here. Some will have it here. Okay? So what happens is that you can actually plug something into here, right? It's like, what do we call that? And then, well, there's something you can plug in here, right? Like a microphone that has an on and off switch, and just turn it off, and then you don't get any sound, but you get visual.
So it's like,
So there's ways to do it.
if you had a microphone, you would record whatever's in the microphone, but because you don't have a microphone device, it cuts off whatever sound would be coming through here,
Right.
but
Right.
but nothing's coming to the network.
Right. See, this over here overrides whatever it is you plug in here. But once you plug in something in here, it overrides this.
Right.
So this is like a condenser microphone, or it's called a boom mic. But you cannot rely on this mic for an interview, because usually they sell you the cheap end of it. It's always good to carry your own mic for better quality. All right. This is more like what they call omnidirectional. It'll pick up noise. And first of all, it's too far away from your source anyway.
Right.
You got to be right up on the person, man. You know, it's like, who wants to be that tight to get good sound? So you have a long enough cable, and then we're going to be getting into different cable types. All right, so you sound intelligent, you know what you're doing. All right? But you have to have an adapter here, which is called a mini plug. This field deals with a lot of adapters and plugs, and jacks. That's one of the most scariest things about this field. All right? Very intimidating. But don't worry about that. It's just adaptation. Yes?
Also, you pick up every other sound that's around that microphone as well.
Yeah, that's what they call it omni. It's just good to get like what they call a German Sennheiser microphone, which is unidirectional. It just picks up the source sound.
Like a beam and temp.
Yeah, precisely. You just pointed at the subject. And then there's other types of mic. Does anyone know any other types of microphones in the industry that you've seen in radio interviews? Concealed microphones that you can't.
What about little voice activated?
So little ones, right? There's little ones. There's what they call, for French, lavaliers or clip-ons. Yeah, those are the tiny ones. They're usually pretty good. And then there's wireless transmitters, you know, stuff like that. You hear what's happening when you talk. You hide it. But what is a device that checks for audio? What is a device? If you have it recorded and you have a microphone plugged into that, what is a device that checks for it?
It could be a meter.
What if you don't have the luxury of a meter? Most people don't. What is your other? I mean, you'll be walking through the subways with this device. On a bus, on a train. You be jamming, man, in the streets with this.
Walkman?
What's that, headphones? Headphones.
Oh, okay.
A simple 99 cents headphone will do. This costs 99 cents at the 99 cent store. This will do, man. Really. It's 2-channel, left and right, stereo. How do you, I mean, you're going to go to a big-time shoot to interview a big-time VIP and you don't have anything to monitor sound? And you might not never get that interview again? You know what I'm saying? You get fired. So it's always good to carry a headphone and just plug it in and just have it in your ears, you know, to make sure you're getting consistent audio. Because you can get drops along the way. Through faulty wire, you might have a microphone that has a dead, you know, going dead battery or whatever. Okay? So you see the importance of monitoring what you're doing. So there's different, usually when you're shooting, what you see through the viewfinders, maybe 7 times out of 10 is what you're going to get in the final product, even though it's black and white. So the more you shoot, the better you get. And you know what it's going to look like when it's extrapolated to the big screen. Now, what I was talking about earlier was when we're children, we learn how to walk, right? Someone has to guide us. Someone has to teach us how to walk. Once we learn how to walk, we coordinate that with our optical systems, our optic nerves, our motor responses. So when we're walking, I mean, things are actually in balance, isn't it? I mean, the walls are not shaking. I'm able to see where I'm going, you know, I'm able to turn, look around. But then you have beginning camera people that when they shoot, they're shooting like they're seeing the world. And guess what? That's a no-no, you know? That's a no-no. The camera is not the same as the human perception of the world. You have to slow things down for other people to assimilate what you're showing them. All right? So if I take a shot at you, I can't just say, boom, bet. I'm moving on. bet. You know, come on, let's. You gotta like hold the shot, look at her pretty face, her pretty smile, for about 4 seconds, move to the next subject for about 4 or 5 seconds, and move on. You see? So it takes patience to operate this thing. And you know, like when we're walking, like I said before, we're balanced. You know, the walls are not shaking. You know, I mean, that's the glory of the human anatomy. Please. This organic specimen. But this is an electronic device. It's trying to imitate us. It's trying to imitate our optic nervous systems and our motor responses. And you can't do a good job at it, although we're getting there. You know, maybe if I get a PhD at Columbia in computer science, I can work in robotic theories and artificial intelligence and fuzzy logic and come up with a new virtual reality. That's right. So that's it right there with that. So you know that you have to have patience as a camera operator. One of the golden rules is shoot to edit. What does shoot to edit mean? Can anybody tell me what that means?
Shoot enough. So I was gonna say just to shoot enough footage, enough that like, so if you feel like you leave out stuff, that you have enough to work with.
That's good. That's good. But then don't forget, less could be more, and more could be less.
It depends on what you're trying to do.
Quality, precisely. Qualitatively, we're not looking at quantity. We're looking at qualitative information. What is the essence of what it is that you're doing? And everyone was correct. Okay? Shot selection, pre-planning, creating an edit list, of shots that you want to take. Now, what was the original question?
It's over editing.
What was the original question? Forgot, right?
Oh, just now?
Yeah, what's the original question?
Shooting to edit.
Right, shoot to edit. Any other responses to that? And shoot to edit. What do you think that means? Well, you keep.
I would think that as much as information you think you're getting in a shot, you're still sort of going to be able to go back and find a mistake with it. Sort of keeping that in mind when you're shooting. And although it may look perfect at that moment, you still may have to take or a glitch, right? Something may happen in your perfect shot.
Right. So, shoot to edit actually means that you're looking at your goal of your final product and the process that it's going to take to assemble it while you're shooting. You get what I'm saying?
So you're saying you have to have an end product in mind?
A goal. A goal. What it is that you're trying to achieve. What is it that you're trying to tell? Are you covering all the bases of what you're shooting? All right. Put it this way: if I'm a camera person and my assistant Romel is an editor, I have to provide him enough footage so he can convert what I've shot. So I'm shooting to edit to make his job easier.
So,
You get me?
so, if we could just think about it in these terms as investigators, when we do sometimes is, like, we have to go take a written statement. What I usually do is, I want to hear the whole story that the person has to tell before I start writing, so that I know what area they're going into, so that when I start to write, I know how far to explore, what to bring out of them, rather than just going and just go ahead and starting the writing. Because when I get down the road, I may find out that there's something else that they have to say that maybe should have been with another part of it, but because I don't know what it is that what they have and what they're going to say, and I don't know how to write it. So if I in your term shoot to edit, I already have a goal as to what it is the person or what I already want to be told.
But some things you don't. It's obvious that some things you don't know until it happens.
Right.
So,
But if you keep
there's
it in
exceptions to the
mind,
rules.
but if you keep it in mind,
Right.
what it is that you want to tell,
Right.
when you start to get to those things, I think you know better how to work with it.
Yeah, because you know things that can come up. But in this case, you're using this recording device here as a transcription device. That's the way I see it. You're transcribing the mood of the person, what they're saying, where they're coming from, their motivation, their interests, and all of that.